By the time this video ends, you are going to have a personalized, concrete spiritual reset action plan right in front of you. We are moving past passive religious routines today. To actually hit reset, we have to expose the hidden, modern distractions quietly running in the background of your life. The framework we're using to do this comes directly from this original Bible study, unpacking the events of 1 Samuel chapter 5. So right now, grab a pen and a blank piece of paper. Seriously, pause the video if you need to. You will need them to follow along. If we don't make a physical, written commitment, spiritual growth remains an abstract idea. Let's make it a concrete reality. Step 1 starts by looking at the ancient Philistines. After defeating Israel in battle, they captured the Ark of the Covenant, treating the ultimate symbol of God's presence as a mere spoil of war. They took the Ark into the temple of Dagon, their god of agriculture and wealth. The goal was obvious: place Israel's God underneath their own belief system to show who was truly in charge. But God asserted his supremacy almost immediately. The massive statue of Dagon was found face down before the ark, violently tipping forward and shattering into pieces on the stone floor. Severe plagues then swept through the surrounding Philistine cities, proving that God's authority easily bypassed their political borders and geographic boundaries. God's presence is fiercely holy. He absolutely refuses to be managed, co-opted, or treated as a subordinate asset by any human religious system. That brings us to step 2, the idol audit. We need to shift our focus from ancient stone statues to the invisible, modern Dagons operating in our own lives. A modern idol is exactly what you see here, the things we ultimately rely on for our security. A stone idol morphs into wealth accumulation, a rising career chart, or a glowing smartphone. Treating God of a mechanism to secure blessings is transactional faith. Inserting a prayer like a token into a vending machine will jam the gears and break the system. So ask yourself, if you lost your career, your wealth, or your social standing today, would your faith collapse? Look at your blank paper. I want you to write down your absolute must-have desire, the thing you feel you cannot live without. Now, physically draw a bold line right through it. Intentionally exposing our deepest dependencies is the only way to recognize when an earthly desire has usurped God's rightful position. Now we tackle step 3, the boundary reset. This is where we draw clear lines of separation from worldly influences. When the Philistines faced God's judgment, they didn't repent. Instead, they tried a compromise, simply moving the ark from city to city to avoid the consequences. Believers today often attempt a similar workaround. We try to dilute strict biblical truths into digestible self-help, just to avoid friction with the secular culture around us. Look at this central figure balancing these heavy, interconnected spheres. Attempting to juggle endless doom scrolling, meaningless socializing, and toxic workplace politics is exhausting. It requires cutting out the darkest habits completely. Pick up your pen again. Identify one specific toxic distraction in your routine and write it down. You are going to completely pause this habit for the rest of the week. Attempting to accommodate worldly habits alongside God's presence always results in spiritual contamination. Holiness requires strict boundaries. Which leads us to step 4, the protocol of return. We have to learn the correct biblical response to God's discipline. On the left, we see a common trap: reacting to hardship by frantically adding more church events or religious duties. We run on a tiring hamster wheel of empty ritual without ever addressing the root sin. Contrast this with the Philistines, who stopped running, consulted priests, and returned the ark. Genuine surrender looks like the right side. It is releasing internal control over a hidden struggle, like jealousy, greed, or resentment, and letting the light back in. On your paper, write down one physical action you will take today to surrender control. This could be apologizing to someone, making a targeted donation, or deleting a specific app from your phone. God desires the vulnerability of a broken, surrendered heart over the superficial currency of religious performance. Take a look at the piece of paper in front of you. You have successfully built a personalized spiritual reset plan. You've completed 4 physical steps today: identifying your personal Dagon, rejecting transactional faith, cutting a worldly distraction, and committing to an act of surrender. This brings us back to the core lesson of 1 Samuel chapter 5. God's true presence can only fill a space once all of the false idols have been completely dismantled. Keep this written plan visible throughout your week. Do not let this remain a theory. Execute your specific action step before the day ends, because actively and intentionally taking apart your personal idols is the true pathway to building a restored, authentic spiritual foundation.